Bears Nation has been talking about how the Chicago Bears need to bring in some more defensive line help before training camp. And at the edge position, I 100% agree. I think that Poles is going to bring in someone on a bargain deal like he's talked about before, maybe do one of those late night signings that he randomly does every now and then. But I mean, the dude's bored. He was cooking all year. Now he's just not doing anything. He's like, man, they need to go out and get more people. So he'll probably end up getting another edge. But that defensive line, interior-wise, I'm not worried about. From an edge position standpoint, I'm not worried about that too much either, to be honest with you. I think Austin Booker is going to be legit. I mean, he already gets the message about playing for the Chicago Bears.
Anything you want to get out there before you wrap up?
Shit, fuck Green Bay.
All right.
Yeah. And I'm not here today to talk about Booker either. I'm actually here to hit on someone I was pumped about last season and also the second we got him. And I'm even more excited now because of the fact that he looks good at camp. He looked really good in the second half of the season, and he could have a huge 2024-2025. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this episode of Just Another Year Chicago Bears. My name is Nick Rohde, and as always, thank you for tuning in. I'm excited to bring you today one of my favorite candidates for breakout season in 2024-2025 for you guys, because I think we can all agree on it as well. Gervon Dexter Sr., Big Dex, our second-year man out of Florida who was hot at the end of last season in the final 8 games, is someone I am stoked about, and I know you guys are too. He is a force to be reckoned with, and I don't know how anyone is going to be able to stop him this year with Eric Washington as his defensive coordinator, who is a defensive lineman development guru, so I am pumped about Gervon Dexter Sr.'s upcoming season. And I'm going to break down more about Gervon Dexter Sr. and why I think he's in for a breakout season, but before I do, make sure to smash that like button on this video if you agree that he's in for a breakout season, along with commenting how many sacks you think he'll have in 2024 for the Chicago Bears. So the 22-year-old, yes, only 22 years old, has been a big impact on this defense so far. He hasn't even gotten to the prime of his career yet. He's still learning this league, and he's making big strides every single time that he is on the field, whether it's practice or in a game. And I think he is going to be a very impactful defensive lineman in the NFL for a long time. He's only been in the NFL for 1 year, last year being his rookie year, but he had a solid end to that season, which I'm going to get to a little bit more in a bit when I break down his stats. But as a rookie, I was super impressed, folks, and I think you guys were too. Standing at 6'6", 312 pounds. Remember, Dexter was drafted at 330, so he lost 18 pounds. He looks fantastic. He looks strong. He looks fast. He looks light. And I think that he is in for a really big season. That is one big defensive tackle to have up the middle, by the way. I mean, guys usually aren't much bigger than 6'4", and that's on the big end. This guy is 6'6". Great extension, great length, good for pass deflections. But I mean, he's a massive man with nothing but huge upside. And on top of it, like I said earlier, he's taller than Akeem Hicks was. Hicks was definitely heavier, about 50 pounds heavier. But, you know, Dexter Sr.'s ripped. I mean, this guy is all muscle, and it's scary seeing a guy that big and that ripped. He's only played for the Chicago Bears, and last year was drafted at 53 in the 2023 NFL Draft out of Florida, which he only fell because he didn't do as well as Florida in his second 2 years because of the fact that they switched up the defensive scheme that he was brought to Florida for as a freshman, hurting his style a little bit. When coming to the Chicago Bears, clearly it helped him out big time. This is the scheme that he's used to, and he's able to thrive in the second half of the season, especially after they got Eric Washington this upcoming offseason. But what I meant is when we got Montez Sweat. And when we got Montez Sweat, this guy took off. So in total, during his rookie season, he played in all 17 games, Mr. Reliable, having 20 total tackles. And remember, he was the third man in the rotation, so he wasn't on the field nearly as much as Justin Jones or Andrew Billings. So he's going to get a lot more reps this year, and you're going to expect bigger stats, which I'll break down in a little bit. 13 of those tackles being solo, 7 assists with 2.5 sacks. Remember that number later and where all those sacks came from. He had 12 quarterback hits because the man got absolutely after it. He had 2 pass deflections, which clearly that big frame helped out big time. But in the final 8 games of the season, he played in all 8. Again, played in every game last year. But he had 11 of his total, which is over half. 7 solo, over half. 5 assists, almost all of them, clearly showing he was more involved in being able to track the ball a lot better. 2.5 sacks in his last 8 games. So all of his sacks came in the second half of the season, clearly showing progression and learning and able to get after the quarterback, but also Montez Sweat helping him out big time. Not only that, he had 9 quarterback hits, so 3/4 of his quarterback hits came in the second half of the season as well. The Montez Sweat effect was still in full effect there, and 1 pass deflection. So he split them in the first and second half of the season. But clearly this kid can get after the quarterback, and he did a lot more in the second half, learning the game, helping, grow this defensive line thanks to Montez Sweat, and it isn't going to be any different this year. In fact, I think it's going to be a lot better. Now, before I get more into the breakdown and what I think Gervon Dexter Sr. is going to do this year, make sure that you check out the link in the description below to get some Freshie Organic Tequila Seltzer for yourself today. It's going to be a hot weekend in Chicago, and what better way than having 99 calories of the first organic tequila seltzer in the world based out of Chicago. Make sure to help local Chicago startups by supporting Freshie today, and go to Freshie Finder in the link in the description. So clearly, he's a huge interior defensive lineman like I talked about before, and it's going to take on a lot of double teams from the opposing offensive line. He uses just his brute strength to get by everybody that is in his way, which is huge for this offensive or defensive line because he opens up opportunities for other teammates. Not only that, he has really strong swim moves for a guy his size that makes him even more dangerous, allowing him to get past defenders off the snap. My big thing for him, though, is that if you put him next to Montez Sweat on whether it's the left side or the right side of the defensive line, how is anyone going to stop that pairing of 2 6'6", almost 300? Well, Gervon Dexter Sr. is 300 plus, but Montez Sweat being 270. Just overall, these guys are just going to bull rush offensive linemen. No one's going to be able to stop them. You're going to need to take your center off or put in a fullback to pick up double teams, but that still creates a hole for, a TJ Edwards or a Montez Sweat or somebody, or Tremaine Edmonds, somebody to just squeeze their way up the middle in big time plays coming up for the Chicago Bears defensive line. He also became a much better run stuffer. You saw that his assist, skyrocketed in the second half of the season. So really big season ahead for him, and why his second half of the season, 2023-2024, will lead into a huge season in 2024-2025. So here's my stat prediction on him, because he picked up later in the season. I feel like he's going to have the following stat line, considering he will also be the starter at the moment alongside Andrew Billings. I think he's going to be playing all 17 games. He is a really reliable guy with 45 total tackles, so more than double, 30 of them being solo because he's a one-man wrecking crew, meaning 15 assists. But he's going to have 6 sacks, and that's aiming low, to be honest with you guys. I think that he could have more than 6 sacks, but now that he picked it up, he's going to take off. He's going to get better. This defensive line got better. There's a lot more pressure. Eric Washington's going to develop him. I really think that he could have 6 sacks as an interior defensive lineman, along with 27 quarterback hits. That's what Justin Jones had last year. I think he can match that, but he's going to have more sacks than Jones did. And quarterbacks are going to have nightmares before they play this defensive line for a long time, especially considering Dexter Sr. still has 3 years left on his rookie contract. Along with 7 pass deflections, I think that teams are going to have to force quick passes over the middle, and Dexter's size is just going to be able to knock it down, which is great to have on your defensive line. So overall, I'm excited for Big Dex. It looks like from both of my votes that I posted earlier today on YouTube and on Twitter, you guys have to agree with that. So I hope to see at least 400 likes on this video to show your guys' support, and I'll send this over to Gervon because I follow him on Twitter. He follows me back, so I can DM it to him real quick. And Gervon, can't wait for this upcoming season. Would love to have you back on the show, do another quick interview, because the interview last year was awesome. So hopefully you can make time for that again. But show your guys' support for Gervon Dexter by hitting that like button on this video, and also commenting how many sacks do you think he'll have in 2024-2025. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and stay up to date on all Chicago Bears news and notifications. But with that, thank you as always for tuning in this episode of Just Another Year Chicago Bears. My name is Nick Brody, and as always, bear down, baby.